Long before training the brain became the in thing to do, I've always had a simple philosophy. Improve your students' coordination, teach them what it takes to learn, and you can improve their skills in just about anything that requires movement. Well, now with the help of neuroscience and research being released every day, they're now validating what I've been teaching for years. Hi, I'm Brian Dyker of ABNC Sports Training, and welcome to the Keys to Learning Movement, the essentials getting started. You know, some decisions are pretty easy to make. Today I have an awesome day. Much rather be out here than sitting on a couch playing video games and watching television, because I want to get myself moving, get some exercise, train my brain, and I want to be good at stuff. And I'm going to show you how to get started. Balance is important in all sports, activities, and exercise. You know, it should be our primary focus when teaching kids. Well, I'm going to show you a great little drill you can use to get yourself started so that you become better balanced and you're in better control. Well, this next essential is a no-brainer. Neuroscientists are telling us that exercise and movement is not just good for us physically, but mentally as well. Meaning that when we're moving, we're bringing blood. As I mentioned before, it takes practice. You may not be very good in the beginning, but the brain needs time to learn. Neuroscientists are telling us the more you practice, the stronger those neurons become, the more automatic they become, and the better you're going to be. We hear the expression used all the time that a player has great rhythm and timing, that they somehow are able to get into a groove. Well, when I think of rhythm and timing, I think of a musician. You'll have the ability to take your focus from one object to another in a split second. Let's take a look. So remember, your brain has this amazing ability to learn new stuff. You have to learn, practice, and give your brain time to learn a new movement. So remember, learn, practice, don't give up, and you'll get it too. Hi, I'm Brian Dyker of ABNC Sports Training, and here's another tip from the Keys to Learning Movement. You know, there's nothing wrong with sitting on a couch, nice cup of coffee, doing a puzzle, training your brain. But for me, I'd rather get myself a jump rope, a good pair of training shoes, some nice scenery, fresh air, and train my brain in a completely different way. Neuroscientists are telling us that exercise and movement is not only good for us physically, but it's good for us mentally as well. Meaning that when we're moving, we're actually carrying blood, glucose, and nutrients to the brain, optimizing its performance. Yet they're also telling us when we learn and perform a new skill that we're improving the neural connections in our brain, which also improves the plasticity of our brain. For those of you that already know how to jump rope, that's great. Get your rope out, get your training shoes on, get a nice location, and start exercising. Well, for those of you that want to learn how to jump rope, I'm going to show you an easy way to get started. What we're going to do is I'm going to just show you how to jump on 2 feet lightly. Just let the rope pass underneath both feet. And then I want you to just practice jumping on 1 foot. Let's say you start with your left foot first, and then practice on your right foot. Now, once you have both of these down, I just want you to alternate back and forth and get a nice rhythm going, nice timing. So remember, now that we know that exercise and movement is not just good for us physically, but mentally as well, that it brings blood, glucose, and nutrients to our brain, optimizing our performance, that's pretty awesome. I'm Brian Diker. We'll see you next time with another tip from the Keys to Learning Movement. We hear the expression all the time that a player has great peripheral vision, that they somehow can see outside their immediate line of sight the whole field, court, or rink. Well, I'm going to show you there's a little more to it than just that. Now I'm going to use these 3 tennis balls to show you what I mean. Now we have 3 types of vision. One is where we actually look at the objects and follow them. Then we use our peripheral vision, where now I'm not looking at the objects, but I can see them outside my immediate line of sight. But now this third example is what I'm talking about, where these players seem to make a no-look pass. Well, what happens is they may see a player at point A, and they may turn around and look this way, and all of a sudden they make a pass over here. Well, what they've done is they've actually calculated where that player was and where they're going to end up, and that's by tracking that object. Let me show you what I mean by these 3 balls. Now, here's a perfect example of when you have to track an object, because when I toss this ball in the middle and cross the other 2 over, I couldn't possibly see all 3 and make an accurate catch outside my immediate line of sight. So remember, you don't have to possess this extraordinary ability to see the whole field. You just need to train yourself to track objects from point A back to point B. Remember, you can only see so far. I'm Brian Diker, and we'll see you next time with another tip from the Keys to Learning Movement. Hi, I'm Brian Diker of ABC Sports Trading, and here's a tip from the Keys to Learning Movement. It seems nowadays, in order to participate in a sport or an activity, you need to belong to a team or an organization. Well, for me as a kid, it was pretty simple. Just get myself a ball. And what I mean by that is that I got myself a rubber-coated ball, found a brick wall, put on my training shoes, and I would find ways to improve my footwork, my ability to move, my hand-eye coordination, and get some pretty good exercise as well. Well, I want you to watch the variety of ways that you could put this to use. Let me show you. So, get yourself a rubber-coated ball, find a brick wall, get your training shoes on, and I guarantee this combination is going to give you a pretty awesome workout. Now here's a bonus for you players that participate in a sport where throwing is part of the game and accuracy is essential. Go to a basketball court and you can use the backboard and try throwing the ball across the court, hitting the backboard and have it come back to you, and see how many times you can do this in a row. I'm Brian Diker, and we'll see you next time with another tip from the Keys to Learning Movement. Here's the perfect example of when teaching and learning a new skill, that instead of working with the brain, you're actually working against it. We spend our entire lives training our brain to keep ourselves in balance, so that when we go out of balance, we quickly get right back up and back in balance. Well, I'm going to show you how to train your brain all over again to begin to cooperate when you put your body in a new position when you're learning a new skill. Well, I'm going to use inline skating as the example, and I'm going to use crossing over as a way to show you how the brain is going to fight you every step of the way to learn this if you're not prepared. All too often I see in camps and clinics that instructors are teaching this maneuver, and a lot of these students aren't very balanced on their skate. And what I mean by this is that when you go into a crossover position, you're actually on one skate leaning into the turn, which means that the brain is not familiar with being out of balance in this position. Well, I guarantee if you took those skaters, they would be unable to balance on one skate just in a straight line, let alone crossing over. So, if you want to train your brain, as I said before, to become conditioned to being in a new position, start with this. So the way to get your brain conditioned for this is just begin by skating and lifting one skate off the ground, and just gliding on one skate and keeping yourself in balance. Once you can do it on, let's say, your left skate, well, let's try it on your right skate and do the same thing. Just glide and pick your foot up and try to stay in balance. What this will do, it's going to train your brain to remember that it's okay to be on one skate, because when you go and make that crossover, you're actually going to be picking one skate up off the ground and crossing over, so you're going to be on that one skate in a leaning position. And you want your brain to be trained to recognize that as being okay. So now when you have it to where your body's in control on one skate, now you can try and put your body out of position. Lean forward, lean back, and lean to both sides. So now again, when you go back to doing that crossover, your brain is thinking, okay, this is okay now because I recognize that he's going to be out of balance. So the point is here, if you're unable to balance on one skate for a period of time and keeping your body in control, what makes you think that you're going to be able to do a more advanced maneuver such as crossing over without training your brain to know that it's okay to be in this position? So remember, the brain is aware of much more than we think. So whether you're taking or giving a lesson, remember you want to work with the brain and not against it.